Well, Jet fans, let me ask you a question. Have you recovered yet? Have you gotten your dose of reality? Are you feeling back to normal? Are you still feeling down? Are you still feeling depressed after the absolute beatdown and spanking that we took at the hands of one of the best teams in the NFL? Or are you feeling on the road to recovery? You're ready to put it behind you, and now you're looking forward to what will be another challenge this week in Tampa Bay. I'm sure there's a few from both camps, and we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to do a recap of the Buffalo game. Not that I want to do it much, but just to talk about where things are with this team, really, because you go on social media, oh my gosh, you would think the world's coming to an end yet again, which is pretty much the state of that we all know being Jets fans. But I'll tell you what, we got a lot to get into tonight, as we always do. It's Wednesday night, it's 6 p.m., and we are live. And well, welcome in everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am your party host, Wa2K99, here as I am every Wednesday night for our weekly extravaganza. There, we got it back tonight. All right, well, first of all, we got a bunch of stuff to get into tonight. We will recap the Jets-Bills game. I'll try to keep it brief, try to keep it relevant. It's one of those things I just can't be coming on right after games. The content creators who have that in them, God bless them. But after games like that, any kind of a loss, no matter whether it's a heartbreaker or an ass-kicking, you got to give me 24 hours before I can even begin to post my thoughts with any kind of rationality. It's all I could do. It's all I could do at this point in my life, right? But we're going to get into that. We will look forward to what the Jets are facing this week against Tampa Bay. But before we get into, and remember, hit that thumbs up, everybody. Please like, please subscribe, please share the channel with a friend, a family member, regardless of whether you like them or not. They'll appreciate it, I'm sure. So, I want to say a couple quick hellos to the people in the chat. First of all, the first one here tonight is the Danger Zone. You have all entered that Danger Zone. Hit the like. He knows what's up. Tony Alexio bringing the positivity. Brandon Stevenson, Justin Fields are Muji busts. Wilkes is a G bust. So 2 games in, and Tony is already prepared to declare the busts. He is giving out the bust awards already, and we're not even to October 1st. Oh, my goodness. Ain't no time to waste. We got to declare people as being absolute failures, horrible decisions by this regime. Bring back Mike McCagnon already, right? We got Pa2K99 here as well. He hit the button. See? There's a man who's made some smart decisions in his life, and this is another one. Thank you very much, Pa2K99. Hank G, hi to you as well. Hope you're having a fantastic week, my friend. Billy SBC, Tyrod, getting right into Tyrod Taylor. He gives the Bucs something different to consider. Tyrod has thrown plenty of touchdowns in his career. What kind of offense do you prepare for now? We're going to talk about it, Billy. Glad that you're here, my friend. You give me something to think about and something to talk about, and that's what I like. When you guys throw something at me that makes me think, and it makes me analyze right in the moment. See, I've got my notes here. I've got my notes. I've got my idea of what I'm going to talk about. But sometimes, even though I feel like I'm driving the car, you just reach over, grab the steering wheel, and make me veer hard to the right. And all of a sudden, we're on a completely different path, and that's what makes it kind of fun. And you never know what's going to happen here on the Wednesday night live show. Tony's got the confidence in Tyrod Taylor. We got a better chance to win. You might be right. You might be right. Billy, Tyrod can make Arian Smith a real number 2 wide receiver threat. Tampa Bay has to throw out its cheat sheet on the Jets now. I think you might be just right, Billy. You might be right. Scott Foster, how you doing now? No vodka or anything like that this week. Just good old-fashioned H2O. Yeah, not drink. I've had enough in the last couple of days, believe me. spending the weekend in New York, doing a wine tasting last night with some friends and some new friends that I made too. I was at a wine and yoga studio last night. And maybe you're not surprised. It was me, 3 other guys, and about 25 women. To the surprise of absolutely no one, right? All right. Billy, you're not going to stack the box against Tyrod Taylor. He can make you pay for that. You know what? Fields can too when the day is right. You know, I warned you about Justin Fields at the beginning. You were going to see inconsistent quarterback play, and you saw the best and you saw the worst in just 2 weeks. Tyrod Taylor, again, you don't know about his durability, and we're gonna break all that down. Gonna break all that down. Yeti, hey buddy, hello everyone. Yeti, man, he makes the rounds. If there's a Jets show, Yeti is very likely there. Yeah, he's like your favorite chat member's favorite chat member. You know what I'm talking about? Tony Alexia, oh my gosh, secondary can't stop a nosebleed. Fire Wilk. So maybe he just needs to put Chris Streveler on the defense, and Tony would believe in it. Oh my gosh. Well, the check's in the mail, Scott. I do appreciate the kind words. I do. Tony Alexio, Fields is Zach Jr. Fields is a much better runner and a much better athlete than Zach is. I'll tell you that much. Scott, I'm going to get into the O-line in just a few minutes. All right, guys. I'll tell you what, man, you guys are bringing it. The chat is on fire when it comes to game week. Man, I'm going to have to wait. You know what? Guys, I'll tell you what. I'm going to do things differently. I always start the show with 3 and out. You know what? I'm going to save 3 and out until later in the show because you guys are bringing it so good, bringing it so well right now. I just can't bear to talk about baseball or the Mets, the Yankees, the Giants. I just can't do that right now. I think we got to get right into the Jets. So, guys, I know it hurts. You may not be feeling it completely in your soul, in your gut, but deep down, there's a part of you that still wants to believe. It still knows it's only 2 weeks into the season, 15 weeks to go, 15 more opportunities to shut up the critics, to silence the doubters, to turn the haters away. So I want to hear a chant from you guys. I want to hear it no matter where you are, whether you're in New York, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Wyoming, whether you're in freaking Timbuktu. Let me hear you in 3, 2, 1. There, feel better. Doesn't it feel better just to hear that? Just one time. All right, so let's get right into this. I may be cheap, but I ain't free on another Jets gym. Tony Alexio, Tyrod Taylor will utilize the tight ends. Well, it would be nice if they put the tight ends on the field a little bit. I think the Jets should be running a good amount of 2 tight end sets when you have so little at wide receiver. Hey, Jets is right. All right, so let's get into this little bit of a recap here. Yeah, let's get the 3 and out. We're gonna bring 3 and out back, but I'm gonna do it at the end of the show. Yeah, we could always mess with the format a little bit if we want to. So I'm gonna say this to you all right now. As many of you know, I was in New York this past weekend, and I really didn't have a whole heck of a lot planned. You know, I knew I was going to. You know what? No, let's change the formatting. Yeah. There we go. That's good. Okay. I don't need to see Josh Allen that big on the screen. All right. So I was staying in Astoria, Queens, and I did not really know what I was going to do on the Sunday. I knew I was likely to go to the Mets game, but it's just a quick bus on the Q9 trip it's a quick bus. That makes no sense. It was a quick trip on the Q19 bus, straight east down Astoria Boulevard, on a northern boulevard. Boom, you're right at Citi Field. I could have gone to a certain political event in Astoria that was going on in light of last week's tragedies, but I wasn't very sure about my safety if I went. I could have also gone to the Jets game. Now, between the subway to get into Manhattan, the round-trip bus to Port Authority, from Port Authority to the Meadowlands, then a game ticket, you're looking at $130 easy, and that's before any food, beverage, merch, any of that. And deep down, I didn't have much confidence at all in this game. And as it turns out, I would have been out of that stadium by halftime. Thank God I went to the Mets game. Not that that game was any kind of picnic, but it was a win. It was the end of an 8-game losing streak. Had a very, very good pastrami sandwich. My Nathan's hot dog with mustard, no ketchup, was as good as expected. I took down 2 spiked Arnold Palmer cans. They do have the Surfside beverages over there, which I like, especially the lemonade and vodka. But $24 for a 24-ounce Surfside, I could buy a 12-pack for less than that for that price. Come on. So I thought the game really came down. What are the 2 most important positions in football? Your quarterback and your head coach. And I thought the Jets got absolutely schooled in both positions in that game on Sunday. You can point out a lot of individual things, certain players, certain coaches, but if your quarterback and head coach get beat as badly as they did, you're not going to win. Sean McDermott embarrassed Aaron Glenn in that game. He embarrassed Steve Wilks as well. Steve Wilks, and Tony said it, he alluded to it, has not been putting in a defense that is allowing these players to be at their best. It's not that I think Steve Wilks is a bad communicator. I'm not going there. That I don't know. We're not in the locker room. We don't know. But I know a couple of things. San Francisco canned him after 1 year as their defensive coordinator, and that was a team that went to the Super Bowl. I'm worried that his defense does not suit the talents of these players. The steps back we've seen, in particular, I'm thinking about the linebackers, Quincy Williams and Jamian Sherwood. One thing I thought coming into the season is we had one of the best linebacker combinations in the NFL. Top 3. Those 2 players have been nowhere near the same. And for as much as we want to kill, I was going to get into the offense, but I'm getting into the defense. I'm just going on a complete train of thought. It is what it is. But the Jets had 10 missed tackles in this game on Sunday. Over pursuit, players out of position. It's read and react and attack. For as much hate as we want to throw at Robert Saleh, and he deserves all the criticism in the world. Jeff Ulbrich, probably the same thing. Okay? Not that he was a bad defensive coordinator, but he was not suited to be a head coach. But the problem is, or the advantage of the Robert Saleh defense was pure aggression. Go at it. Balls to the wall, all out. And that suited Quincy very, very well. Suited Jamian pretty well too. But through these first 2 games, they have been major disappointments. And we don't really want to talk about that. We're talking about Justin Fields having a bad game. We talk about Brandon Stevens, everybody's favorite new whipping boy. The Jets should have a ring of dishonor around MetLife Stadium, Pretty much like the absolute bottom. You could be like Brandon Stevens, Kyle Wilson, Johnny Lamb Jones, Zach Wilson, Vernon Golston, Christian Hackenberg. The problem is the ring would be so long, it'd have to go like 15 rows up to get all the names in there. They made James Cook look like Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, and Emmitt Smith combined. The Bills running backs, the Bills in general, averaged 4.1 yards per carry on Sunday. 4.1 yards per carry. That's after initial contact. If you're running for 4.1 yards per carry, I'm feeling pretty good. 4.1 yards after each initial contact. The same crap we were watching last year with not taking down your man at the initial point of contact. Missed tackles. We talked about it endlessly last year. It came back. The ghost of crappy defense, it came back on Sunday. Marcelino McCrary-Ball. Why is he starting on defense? He had a PFF grade of 27.7. Forget getting a grade of F. That's like a grade of O. What? Tell me why again. Why did this team cut Jamin Davis? I'm not saying he's Ray Lewis or anything, but I know he's a professional linebacker who can make some plays. And they cut him? I thought they were cutting him to bring him back. They cut him. 64 points allowed in 2 games. The Jets had a yardage margin of minus 249. That is the 10th worst in team history at home. The worst since 2018, week 10 against guess who? Buffalo. Worse than any Adam Gase or Robert Saleh game from that perspective. And I knew we were losing that game. Did you not know? I'm amazed I haven't seen Michael Clemens mentioned in the comments yet. I'm stunned. I knew, even just getting notifications, the Jets were dead when Michael Clemens committed that personal foul on 3rd and 19. Instead of the Bills punting, we give them 15 yards and a first down. They turned that into a touchdown, and the Jets never got close. How is Michael Clemens playing more snaps than Will McDonald? We'll get into the snap counts in just a few minutes. He's playing more than Will. Michael Clemens has a 45.4 PFF grade. That's second worst among all qualified edge players in the NFL. His tackling grade, 27.8, also second worst among qualifiers. This season, he has no pressures, no run stops, no tackles, no sacks, and 1 personal foul. What are we doing, Steve Wilks? What are we doing, Aaron Glenn? I know Will McDonald is bad against the run, but I know he can at least do something on an elite level. What does Michael Clemens do on an elite level except for make stupid, bonehead plays? What else? And you know the funny thing? If you told me what Josh Allen's box score would be for this game, 14 completions on 25 pass attempts, 148 yards, no touchdowns. Would you not have taken that as a Jets fan? Would you not have signed up under 150 yards and no touchdown passes? The running game, he had the 40-yard run. Outside of that, he had 5 runs for 19 yards. I could deal with 1 huge play being given up. I can live with that. I still wouldn't be upset by that. The running game gashed them. I thought Solomon Thomas was back. I thought Javon Kinlaw was back. My gosh. That defense was just anemic. And then and as far as the offense goes, you know what? I can't kill Tanner Engstrand. I can't. There were open receivers for the plays that I was able to watch. Justin Fields couldn't find them. Justin Fields was playing quarterback like he was Stevie Wonder. That is the reason this offense failed. 3 for 11 passing, late throws, off-target passing. I knew we would have games where he did not look good. I did not think that he would make us long for the days of Christian Hackenberg and Zach Wilson. 0 for 11 on 3rd down. 0 for 11 on 3rd down. Has there ever been a team, this is a rhetorical question, has anybody ever won a game in NFL history where they did not convert a single 3rd down? And if they did, it's probably because they didn't even have one. Just 2 plays in a row, first half. Isaiah Davis open in the flat, late in the first half. Fields throws it behind him. Next play, too high of a pass to Mason Taylor. I want Braylon Allen to get more chances, but they were down so quickly that the running game was neutralized. When you're down 17 points or whatever it was in the second quarter, it kind of makes it hard to keep running the ball. That is the risk of the ground and pound. That's the problem when you're this run heavy. I mean, who's the MVP of this game? Austin McNamara? He looks good. He may be our lone Pro Bowler. Austin McNamara. We're going to have to start a campaign. Hashtag get Austin McNamara to the Pro Bowl. If they still put punters in the Pro Bowl games anymore is what they have now. My gosh. Terrible. Absolutely. I'm seeing some love for Nick Needham in the chat. All right. Tony, come on. Can we not judge draft picks after 2 games? Please. Tony, don't be that guy. Come on. Not already. Not after 2 games. Tony, my May stuff later. Don't take it personally, okay? Don't take it too personally. So some people want Nick Needham elevated, the former Miami Dolphin. Hey, why not? I think the Jets win against Tampa and Miami, and they won't sit Tyrod after that. Billy, Tyrod will not make it more than 4 games without getting hurt. I'm sorry, he won't. His history shows he will not go more than 4 to 5 games without an injury. And here's the thing. I don't think you can have a quarterback controversy when you know neither of these quarterbacks will be here beyond 2 years. You're just doing what you can with what you have. And you're hoping the real core players, the real foundation players develop. and the quarterback is just along there for the ride, and he doesn't inhibit their progress. This past weekend, Justin Fields inhibited the progress of this offense. He made everybody else on offense look worse than what they really are. That's what bothers me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. Let's go ahead and blow this up a little bit. There we go. All right, record similar to Mike White. Yep, I know. Yeah, the newest Cincinnati Bengal, Mike White. Let's get into the snap counts for this past Sunday. 47 whole snaps on offense. Like Rich Cimini said, the offense will be well rested for Sunday. Boy, doesn't that make me happy. All right, Justin Fields, 29 snaps, down 35 from the previous week. Now, last week, the Jets had, I believe it was 64 snaps on offense. I believe it was. 64. Tyrod Taylor played 18 snaps, his first game of the season. Breece Hall played 30 snaps. Isaiah Davis played 10. Braylon Allen, 9. Andrew Beck, 1. This is not what I envisioned at all. At all. You know, I do my bold predictions video every week, and I did pretty well on my predictions for this game. One thing I had completely wrong was the use of Braylon Allen. 9 snaps? Really? Just doesn't make any sense to me. Just doesn't make any sense. That Isaiah Davis is getting more playing time than Braylon Allen. That ain't right. That ain't right. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson played all but 3 snaps. Tyler Johnson played 45. One more than Garrett did. So his time went way up. Arian Smith got more time on the field. Did anybody actually notice that he was on the field? They would notice? I'm just curious. They would notice Arian Smith? I didn't see it. I don't know. Arian Smith, 22 snaps, up 16. That's encouraging. Alan Lazard saw his first action of the year, 22 snaps. Josh Reynolds, of course, was injured, so he did not play. Tight end, Mason Taylor, 34 snaps. Jeremy Ruckert, 17. We still have not seen Stone Smart yet, you know, who's basically a darling of training camp. Well, he hasn't seen any time on the field yet. And then with the offensive line, Olu, John Simpson, Josh Myers, Joe Tippmann, Anarma Membu played all 47 snaps. Max Mitchell got 1 snap on a running play, I believe it was. So he got his first snap, and that's about all I need to see of Max Mitchell. Tigo, if you're watching, please forgive me. But 1 snap is 1 snap too many for Max Mitchell. Scott, I could assume if it was a Jets play on offense, I could assume it was already terrible. Terrible. That is terrible, man. That is terrible, terrible, terrible. On to the defense. Oh, yes, the lovely, lovely defense. For 75 snaps. Michael Clemens played 42. Jets 19 snaps from last week. Last week they had 56 snaps. This week, 75. Yikes. Michael Clemens gets the most snaps of any edge. Just how we all drew it up, right, Jets fans? 42 snaps. For reasons known to absolutely nobody. Michael Clemens must have had naked pictures of Saleh. Now he must have the same thing of Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes. I don't know what the other explanation is. Will McDonald, 40 snaps, up 9 from last week. Brain McGregor saw his first action of the season, 37 snaps. JJ played 32 snaps before leaving. Tyler Barron, nothing. Nothing at all. Defensive tackle Quinn Williams played 44 snaps. Harrison Phillips, 43. Juwan Briggs, a big increase, 24 more snaps than last week from 12 to 36. Leonard Taylor played 25 snaps, his first action of the season. Jay Tufele was inactive, so he went down from 17 to 0. Made more sense because you're facing more of a passing team in Buffalo. This week, when they face Tampa Bay, I would expect Taylor to be on the bench and Tufele to be playing. That would be my expectation. Linebackers, Jamian and Quincy both played 75 snaps. Marcelino, McCurry, Ball, 28 snaps, up 17. Kiko Mauigoa, 6 snaps, down 1. Cornerback, Brandon Stevens played all 75 snaps. I say the name Brandon Stevens, and I suddenly feel the need to take a shot. Oh, boy, 75 snaps. Sauce played 70. Michael Carter, 32. A.Z. Thomas played 5 snaps, though. They seem to be using him at safety a little bit more. Not what I had in mind either. Safety, Andre Sisco played 75 the whole game. Malachi Moore, 48. He basically took over for Tony Adams once he went out of the game. Isaiah Oliver, 9 snaps, his first action of the season. So a couple of players did get their first time, but we still haven't seen Quantez Stiggers at cornerback, a number of other players as well. But AZ Thomas, at least he got in. So that was an encouraging sign. So that's kind of what we're looking at there as far as that goes. Now, with the latest with injuries as of Wednesday night. So we know Justin Fields will miss this game with a concussion. Now, Tyrod Taylor, here's the thing with Tyrod Taylor. We'll talk about him just a little bit more. The last time he was a regular starter was 2023. He started 5 games with the Giants, including that one against the Jets. He had 20 in those 5 games. I got this from Connor Hughes. He had 27 passes of 20 yards or more. 27 passes over 20 yards. That's 15% of his passes. And on those passes, he went 11 for 27, so a little bit under 50%, 424 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Expect some deep shots. Jermaine Johnson, well, he posted the prayer hands on Twitter earlier today. I hope that means he's thankful that he's okay and that he avoided worst case. But he was not at practice today. That is not a good omen. Playing against a running team, you need JJ because without him, you're counting on some Michael Clemens. And how much more of that do we really need to see? Tony Adams was off on a side field. You know what? Fine. They're playing against – I don't need to see him. Keep playing Malachi Moore. Let him figure it out. Let him take his lumps. I'm fine with that. Michael Carter II, I'm going off what Tony said. It's not off to a good start with him this year. Last year, he was injured the whole season with a back issue, and he was working on a side field. Also not practicing this week, Kene Nwangwu, Josh Reynolds, and Jay Tufele. So Tufele is hurt still. Then we actually might see Leonard Taylor after all. But I think they're going to rely on Quinnen, Phillips, and Briggs up the middle. Because with the Bucs, you got to deal with Rashawn Johnson. You got to deal with Bucky Irving at that running back position. It's going to be very, very important. So the Jets, with the injuries they have in the secondary, and let's be honest, the downright inept play they have in the secondary worked out a bunch of players. Here's who they worked out. I'll give you the full list. Jaden Davis, Thomas Graham, Richie Grant. I'll give everybody a moment so you can all go Wikipedia those 3 names. Arthur Millette, the former Jet who went to Pittsburgh for a while. Tanner McAllister. He sounds more like a long snapper. Jalen Mills, the former Jet, who I'm a big fan of. I really liked him on the Jets last year. I would like for him to get signed or at least put on the practice squad. Don't know if it's going to happen, but I really do like Jalen Mills. They signed Nick Needham from the Dolphins. They put him on the practice squad, and they also added Duke Shelley, the Duke of Shelley himself. And let's be honest, put it this way. If you're putting Adams out, I'm okay playing Cisco and Moore right now. If you want to put in Needham and put him in on select plays, that's fine. But for right now, I want the starting safety tandem to be Andre Cisco and Malachi Moore. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect right away, but I could run with those guys. Harlan, hey, the Father Abraham and his many sons, the many sons of Father Abraham, I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Wants to see more Braden McGregor. And he said, offensive strategy will remain the same. It doesn't change much with a different quarterback. We'll find out. Billy SBC, really, you're fired. I'm not sure for which comment. You were OC for 5 minutes and you got fired because he doesn't want to change too much. He doesn't expect much to change. All right. We got the great Sharon McLean here. Hey, Sharon, how you been, my friend? Hope you're doing well. The Green Goblin. Hey, there you go. Good to see you. Good to have you here. I'm not even hired. How could I? Harlan and Billy, do you two need a room together for a while just to go at it here? Oh, that was the area. Smith reverse play. That was when they had Mitchell on the field. Oh, boy. Give Buffalo credit. They're one of the best teams in football for a reason, and a whole lot of it is the coaching. The fact that they basically knew. It was like, you remember the movie D2, the Second Mighty Ducks movie? That initial game where the U.S. got beat by Iceland 12-1. And Gordon Bombay in the locker room is screaming at the team, makes them do the extra practice afterwards. But the players were saying, Coach Stenson, Wolf the dentist Stenson, right, knew everything we were going to do before we even did it. Basically what happened in this game, guys. That's what happened. It's like the Bills knew what the Jets were going to do. And the Jets aren't talented enough to where they can overcome that. Scott's right. Yeah, Mills can tackle. Good dude. I like him. Billy, your new belief is the Jets will throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against Tampa Bay. This is your new strategy. Hey, I think it's a great outcome. Not about a strategy, but I think it's a stellar outcome. So, oh, all right. So let's talk about the fan base right now. And I don't care if you are on the level of Iron Staten Island with the positivity or Joe Beningo with the negativity, or you fall somewhere in between. It is very clear to me this fan base is out of patience, and I can't blame them. All right, I've been a fan of this team for for a little over 35 years. So I am tired of being picked on every week by the media, with the indirect shots, with the power rankings, by other fans, mocking the team, mocking the players, mocking the direction. Say the best thing about Aaron Glenn is he's got a really nice goatee going on, which he does. It's a good goatee. Dark up here, goes down here, and it's white down here. He's got some impressive goatee action going on. I give him that. But I am hearing people talk about free agent mistakes that the Jets made, draft mistakes the Jets made. And with the free agent mistakes, I'm not even talking about Brandon Stevens. That's an easy one. We all knew deep down that was probably not going to be a great contract. We were just hoping and trusting this franchise knew what it was doing and that Aaron Glenn knew his cornerbacks and he could maybe coach him up. So far, we're not exactly seeing that. The best thing that happened to Brandon Stevens is that the offense was so friggin' pathetic this past week. Takes some of the omen off of him. But people calling players like Jamian Sherwood a mistake. That's what I've got a problem with. People talk about next season's toast too because Aaron Rodgers' cap hit is increasing and we can't bring in new talent. And now I've seen some people wondering, is Aaron Glenn going to be gone after 2 years because these first 2 years are clearly going to be wastes of time? Really? Really? Are we already going to assume that Darren Muji is going to make Mike McCagnon look like Howie Roseman? I'm seeing people with online names like Optimistic Jets fans. Optimistic Jets fan listing every free agent signing, every draft pick, and why every one of them sucks. I think the only one that he left out was Armand Membu. How generous, optimistic you were. When did 2 games make a football career? When did it kill a career? More accurately, when did 1 game make a career? Really? And I really want to look at this in the big picture. Sunday was hideous. Absolutely hideous. This is a game where you don't have to see the film. You burn the film. And you bring in maybe a couple of witch doctors to help maybe exorcise the demons. But do you really think that is how this team is going to play for the next 15 games? Deep down. I go back to what I said about the defense. I applied to the whole team. 2 games was not going to fix every bad habit. Do you remember how bad Detroit was when Dan Campbell got hired? They were horrific the first year and a half. Then it started to turn around. Year 3, they're in the NFC Championship game. It can happen. But we know there are holes on this team. We knew there were holes on this team coming in. If the Jets had gotten beat just because Buffalo had better talent, you know what? You can accept that. You can understand that. But to get beat down for 60 straight minutes, that is what has to stop. And we've watched too many of those games going back really to about 2012, 13, really. Ever since Idzik basically came in as GM and started to strip the team down and neuter Rex Ryan. Sharon McClain, did Jamie have 13 tackles? You know what? Just because you have the most tackles doesn't mean you had a great game. We know Jamie can tackle. But that decisiveness, that extra fire, how many of those tackles were impact plays? Serious question. How many of those tackles were standout, were big-time plays that turned it over? Oh, speaking of turning it over, when will the Jets turn an offense over again? Are we ever going to have that? I'm going to keep coming back to this point too. And I hate to sound like a broken record. I know I sound that way. Those of you 25 and under, ask your parents and grandparents. They'll tell you what I'm talking about. But if you want to be a great defense, You have to turn the other team over. You cannot just count on holding them to 3 and out. Between the kickoff rule, the ability these kickers have to kick the ball 60 yards, 70. Hey, we got Brandon Aubrey in a couple weeks. Oh, I can't wait for that. I could see a 75-yard field goal with the winds of MetLife at his back to end the game. Can't you see that coming? Might be time for a drink stronger than water, sir. No. All right. No, I don't want to drink tonight. I really, really don't. Yeah, Sunday was a complete embarrassment. There's no question. There is no question about it. And again, the stadium is 40% the other team's fan base. That is what I'm also tired of. Because I believe, as far as it is for some Jet fans to get there, if the team is good, and as much as the stadium sucks too, if the team is good, if the team is worth watching, they will go to the games. Because this fan base is starving like crawling through the Mojave Desert without water for the last week. We are ready to drink the sand at this point. Give me a shot of sand on the rocks, please. Man. Got to burn some sage there. Yeah. Well, I got some dried sage in the spice cabinet, but I don't think that quite pulls off the same effect. Yeah, I do know what sage smells like. I remember when I brought a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young album when they did their reunion tour. You open up the liner notes, you smell that thing. I thought I was getting high. I know what it was, and even 3-4 years later, I have the same sage smell going on. Scott would love to see a 75-yard field goal. And Harlan and Billy just at it tonight. Woo! When will the Jets get a turnover? Oh, yeah. Muji signed Stevens and let Eccles, the ball hawk, walk. I don't know if Brent Eccles has any interceptions yet, but still. I still think that we added some coverage safeties like Cisco to do that sort of a thing, but obviously it hasn't happened yet. And again, we did face number 1, Aaron Rodgers, number 2, Josh Allen, 2 very smart core. One thing Josh Allen's really done better is he has learned to curb his mistakes. Early on, he was a little bit of a gunslinger. He's not that way anymore. The Jets will do that once they start playing some quarterbacks they can exploit. Now, I don't think Baker Mayfield is one of them. But upcoming, you have the likes of Bo Nix. Down the road, guys like Spencer Rattler, Trevor Lawrence, Michael Penix. You got some younger quarterbacks that you might be able to take advantage of. Even Tua, Tua has a high completion percentage usually, but I don't know. Billy, I don't think there is not a single fan who would want to meet Michael Clemens in the parking lot after the game. He's got the barbed wire baseball bat with him. You want to chase him down? No, I'll pass on that one. So let's try to move forward. Let's look ahead right now together, okay? 0-2. We lost 2 home games. We lost 2 conference games. We knew the beginning of the season was going to be a challenge. It's time to turn the page. And if I could play some Bob Seger here without getting dinged, I probably would. And hey, we keep going. Maybe we can get back on track for the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
That'd be nice, Jim. That would be a great idea. That would be pretty fantastic. Clemens is going to do something he always does. Hey, you know what? He didn't get into a fight that I know with Deion Dawkins week 1, so maybe that's a step in the right direction. Unbelievable. So now it's Tampa Bay on the road. We play the Buccaneers in their home opener. Now, this is a game I don't know if anybody's going to pick the Jets to win. The Buccaneers are 2-0. They seem to win basically the JV division of the NFC every year because you have 3 crappy teams in the division with them. The Todd Bowles revenge game. I refuse to believe somehow he became this great head coach. He is just surrounding himself. He has a great GM. He has offensive coordinators who get new jobs every year. I think the GM is really what it's all about because they keep letting certain talent go. They bring in talent that is very good. They draft well. They have a good operation in place. Just remember that the overrated cheating weasel, who's now in bed with the Middle East, where is it? Saudi Arabia, Iran, Palestine, wherever the hell it is. I don't know. who's also now a weasel for the Raiders. We always knew he was a cheat. Now we know he's a weasel and a snake as well. But he was smart enough to know to go to a team that was ready-made to win a Super Bowl. And several years later, they are still a pretty darn good team. And a couple things as I look at what a path is to win this game. The Jets will have to hit some shots downfield. We know this with Tyrod Taylor. He's about throwing the deep ball. You are not going to count on Tyrod Taylor to run the ball well. That's not who he is. Not at this point in his career. But he's a more accurate thrower than Justin Fields. He protects the ball. He doesn't turn it over. He doesn't fumble often. But he's not the athlete that Fields is. And we know he's not durable either. I mean, we're going to be elevating Brady Cook from the practice squad this week. You know that's a given. And if Brady Cook has to come into this game, oh, dear Lord, have mercy. Get the paper bag and put it over the head. Or if you're that desperate, make it a plastic bag. Not that I encourage the practice. I'm just saying I can see it happening. And Baker Mayfield, you know what? Let's call it like it is. He is easily a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and he might be top 5. Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, not the singer, but Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Joe Burrow's hurt now, Jalen Hurts. You could put Baker right there. Jane Daniels, Baker's right there with any of it, with those guys. On that, maybe not the top tier, but the next tier. He's there. Herbert, Love, maybe, but you know what? Baker, I'll tell you something about Baker Mayfield. This might shock you. Since 2023, he has more passing yards and more passing touchdowns than Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, or Jackson. Mayfield's got all of them beat in both categories. Can you believe that? But when you have Evans and Godwin to throw the ball to, I guess that makes life a little bit easier. And in this game, the Buccaneers are dealing with a ton of injuries. Their top pass rusher in the interior is out. Basically, their Quinn Williams is out and Kalijah Kancey. He's done for the year. Both their offensive tackles are out. Chris Godwin's still out. Their right guard didn't practice today. That offensive line is beat up. And that's why it kills me if JJ can't play in this game. Because where's the Jets have very good depth at defensive tackle. Where is the depth at edge rush? They don't have it right now. Maybe this is a situation where you call up an Eric Watts. Watts is not much of an edge rusher like McGregor is. This is an opportunity for McGregor to really do something, and you have to play Will. Will played, just over 50% of the snaps last week. It's got to be like 75 this week. He is the only pure edge rusher they have right now if JJ can't play. You have got to give Will a chance to feast. I got to see some blitzing in this game. You have got to get to Baker, especially with an offensive line that is this questionable. But big picture, I look at the next 3 games. Tampa Bay, at Miami, home against Dallas. I want 2 of the next 3. 2 and 3, it is a drastic world away from 1 and 4. And this, in my mind, is going to be the hardest game for them to win. But remember, Miami, they're going to be having extra rest, and they're playing at home. Then you got to come back and hopefully find a way to beat Dallas. And, of course, that'll be the 3rd straight game in MetLife Stadium where the visiting team will be at least 40% of the attendance. But that's it. It's time for the Jets to shut some of these doubters up. But we have to be careful about overreacting to every single game and imagining that's what that team is going to be for the rest of the season. It's still too soon. This is still a very young team. This is still a very young coaching staff. We're going to have some great wins this year, some exciting, thrilling wins. And we're going to have some brutal losses. But I picked 6 wins at the beginning of the season, and I'm not swaying from that. I'm just not. Would like to see Brady Cook play, see what we have. Harlan, that's bold. That's bold. I'll tell you, one of the things about our quarterbacks that bothers me? Both of these quarterbacks. And Brady Cook is guilty of this as well. It takes forever for them to get the ball out of their hand, their windup. They may as well be counting 5 Mississippis from the time they start the windup to the time they release the football. So our quarterbacks coach, can we teach these guys to get the ball out of their hand a little faster? A little faster, please? A little. Jets wins Miami, Broncos, Panthers, Browns, Pats, Falcons, Jags, Saints. The final 2 games against Pats and Bills inside the playoffs. Bills will sit players to allow the Jets in. Wow. Billy, that is an impressive level of optimism. You know something I realized when I make my picks? The Jets might be better, could be better than a lot of those teams, but it doesn't mean they're going to be better than them that week. Hey, they've got I'm trying to think. Who else they have? So they have another game with the Bills, Miami, New England, the Ravens. Hey, why not Cincinnati? Burrow's not going to be playing that game. Why can't they beat the Bengals? Saints, Falcons, Bucks, Panthers. Yeah, I guess being the NFC South except for Tampa Bay. Okay. Yeah, so that's a question that I would have. Why can't we beat Cincinnati? Be honest, Cincinnati. Be honest, Cincinnati. Be honest, Cincinnati. Short week for Tampa and Mayfield being hurt will help. Yeah, it's possible. Mayfield supposedly is a little bit beat up, but he is going to play. I got no doubt he's going to. You know, he's a tough little SOB. We know that. But it is their home opener. If you want a good omen, the Bucks are wearing those disgusting 1970s jerseys. So they're going old school to like a losing time in their franchise history, from what I remember. So maybe that makes you feel better. So the Jets will be wearing green again this week. You know, it is Todd Bowles is coaching them. Todd Bowles is coaching them. Let's see. I'm just going through the chat right now. I'll do 3 now in a couple of minutes, and then I think I'm going to do the trivia. Why is this thing locked? There we go. Texans put 4 sacks on Mayfield. Hurried and hit him all game long. They got by the Texans by 1 point. The Texans may have the most aggressive defense in football. I like that Texans defense. I think it's a top 5 defense in football, right there with Green Bay, Philly when it's right. Maybe Baltimore. But I think Houston has one of the best defenses, and that's why I'm so disappointed in them right now. Because I had Houston winning the division. I didn't know their offense would be this bad. Amen. We got the great Chris still holding down the fort in Kenosha. Hope you're doing well, buddy. No quarterback is Marino. Marino had to have the fastest release in history. Yeah, well, our quarterback, we're trying to get it under 3.5 seconds is what we're trying to do. Billy SBC, Jets need to dial up a pass rush against Mayfield. Offensive line let up 4 sacks on Monday. They play an up-tempo 2-minute offense. Jets need to get after that. If you're missing 3 starting offensive linemen, you know what? You're going to be compromised. And if that means we see a little bit of blitzing, like, can we see Quincy Williams blitz a little bit? Maybe. Just an idea. If you can't get it with your front 4, you know, get these linebackers involved. So, another season with pain. Releasing Gibson is the highlight of the 25 season. Tony. It's only 2 weeks, buddy. It's 2 weeks. They're not going to go 0-17. Rack it if it happens. Cincy without Burrow could be an upset there too. Absolutely. Absolutely can be. Cincinnati. What does Cincinnati have on defense that's got you worried? What has Cincy got on defense? Nothing. Nothing in my mind. Jets are wearing the jerseys from a losing time also. Yeah, they got to the playoffs a couple times. May not be Super Bowl, but a championship game. SBC, Tony, Billy SBC is a believer. I hope so, but I can't see with the terrible secondary. My only real hope with it is that they are still learning this defense, and they're still not sure where they have to be in certain spots, and that's what's leading to the miscommunications. That's the only thing I can really hope for. But again, I need better from the linebackers, and I need better from the secondary. You know, I expect Sauce to be traveling with Mike Evans. Well, we're going to let's get into the Buccaneers here. Actually, let's talk about Tampa Bay, and I'm going to sort of get into this a little bit. So let's pull up the game preview. There we go. No, not the trivia. Nice try. That's coming, guys. Week 3 preview. So Ron P. Hey, Ron P. How you doing? What jersey would the Jets wear to represent a winning time? I think I just put the answer on your screen for you. That's right. The infamous Curtis Martin touchdown pass to Wayne Corbett. Memories of good days. Maybe not championship days, but as close as most of us can remember in our lifetime. Most of us. By the way, guys, just remember, please hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Definitely appreciate it. Share the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Glenn will be all over that defense this week. No matter how mad we are, we're not as livid as Glenn is. Yeah, you give up 64 points in 2 weeks. You're not exactly doing your job. Who's the MVP of the defense so far this year? Quinnen? Maybe? I don't know. You know, Harlan, I try to be very careful about saying that somebody's quitting. I think what we can look at as quitting, if you see like hesitation, it doesn't mean that they're not playing. It's that they aren't thinking too much. And that's one thing Saleh tried to eliminate was overthinking. Wilkes might have these guys thinking too much right now. So I just think it's important to be careful about accusing a team or a player of quitting. I just really try to be careful with that. Now, you could say Brandon Stevens made a bit of a business decision on that James Cook run, and I wouldn't argue with that. Outside of that, I don't know who you might be thinking of. Glenn must be boiling. I don't want to be a defensive player in that practice this week. Hey, how about some live tackling drills? Maybe they need that this week. Maybe some live tackling would help things here. All right. 5 things to know about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, this is the 3rd straight season. The Bucs have gone 2-0 to start a season. No other team in the NFL has done that in that span. Number 2, their offensive coordinators, they keep getting jobs. And they're making Todd Bowles look smart. Byron Leftwich, Dave Canales, Liam Cohen with Duval. Worst press conference of all time outside of Adam Gase. Now they got this guy, Josh Grizzard, who's already getting rave reviews. Tristan Wirfs himself called him a wizard of the offense. The Bucs just put people in places to succeed. You got to give them credit. They're almost like the Tampa Bay Rays in a way. You know what I'm talking about in baseball? I really think there's something. How easy must it be to be a Tampa Bay sports fan? You got the Rays who are always usually kind of in the middle of it. The Buccaneers win the division all the time. You got Super Bowls. The Tampa Bay Lightning have been a powerhouse for years in the NHL. Is there anything outside of Boston? Is there anything easier than being a Tampa Bay sports fan? I can't think of an easier city to root for. Them soft yuccaneers. All right, number 3, since Baker, as I meant, 2023, I already gave you the Baker stat. You know the Jets, number 3, have a higher winning percentage against Tampa Bay than any other team in the NFL in their franchise history? Pretty amazing. Jets tend to do very well against Tampa Bay. Number 4, Hassan Reddick, Mr. Kimono himself, has a full sack already, so he's already surpassed his Jets total. One of the most unselfish people I've ever been around, according to Jeff Ulbrich. All of a sudden, now he's willing to actually play football. Hey, Hassan. Yeah, Hassan has this many sacks. Here's 2, Hassan. And he lines up on the left side. So what that means is he's going to see a whole lot of Armand Membu. Armand, let's see you do it again, big boy. Shut that son of a you-know-what down. Shut it down. Like he's a rancid bar that John Tapper just walked into. At number 5, quite a few injuries Tampa Bay is dealing with. Kalijah Cansey, out for the year with a pec injury. Cody Malk, the right guard, did not practice Wednesday, also with a pec. Luke Gedeke, the right tackle, re-injured a foot against Houston. He is out multiple weeks. Their young hotshot wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka, missed practice today with a hip and groin injury. That bears watching, because if you've got sauce on Mike Evans, who's going to look after Egbuka and Sterling Shepard? Sterling Shepard's been pretty good since he came over from the Giants, but definitely their next biggest receiving threat is Double E. So if he can't play, that could really help the Jets. Tristan Wirfs has not played this year. Chris Godwin has not played this year. They are still limited. I don't expect them back for this game as of yet. Preach it, Ron. Preach it, Ron. Preach it. Again, Billy, I'm not. Bill, I'm not ready to. I'm not going to give up on Wilkes. I don't want to fire a coach after 2 weeks outside of Adam Gase because I knew that was a horrible hire. I'm not. Here's the thing: they get rid of Wilkes. Who are you bringing in? Just some young guy who knows nothing, who's going to use the exact same defense? Just by getting rid of Steve Wilkes, does it really help matters? It's just math. That's the whole thing. If you fire somebody, if you trade somebody, if you cut somebody, you then need to think about who replaces them. You have to have another move in mind. It's just something that we have to remember. All right. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. Let's do a little bit of 3 and out, and then we'll do the trivia. So I'm going to get into a couple of topics, just a little different format than what we had already. Actually, I need to check on. Okay, there we go. All right. All right. Just checking baseball. So as far as the Yankees go, 10-1 lead last night, held on to win 10-9. It's an all or nothing offense, and that does not work in the postseason. Remember, good pitching beats good hitting. The way it is right now, for that, the Yankees have the first wild card spot. Houston is a half a game up on Boston for the second spot. And the AL West, that's going to be a heck of a race. Seattle half a game up on Houston. And with the division, the Yankees are 5 back of a Toronto team that's won 6 straight. No one knows how this is going to shake out. It just looks very likely the Yankees are going to host a wild card series. But as we've learned, I don't really care about home field advantage when it comes to baseball. It's all about getting in healthy and getting hot. So that's as far as the Yankees go. Tony, will LT3 get more opportunities this week? He got quite a few last week. I think this. If Jay Tufele is healthy, he plays because he's better at stopping the run than Taylor is. But they'll play Taylor in limited doses if they need to. But Taylor did not really have that good of a game from what I could see with the ratings. I know nobody really did, if we're being honest. Okay? But I don't know. I think between Quinnen, Briggs, and Phillips, that's going to be your really core of your defensive tackles. And the other two are just going for one spot. What are we going to do with Brandon Stevens? We just coach him. We coach him up for right now. A.Z. Thomas has played 6 snaps. Here's what you hope for. By the end of the year, A.Z. Thomas is the starter. But this guy is he's just learning to drink a bottle of water. I don't want to feed him a fire hose. Got to keep that in mind. He didn't play all that much in the preseason because he was dealing with injuries, Thomas was. But I will say this. From what I heard, Thomas was being used at safety a couple of times. Thomas should not be getting used at safety. He should be the quarterback and move Stevens over to safety. But you know what? He's here for 2 years. Or it's going to be 1 year on a massive cap hit. So I hope he figures it out. But, I mean, at this point in his career, he is what he is. It's just one of those signings that didn't make sense then. And if they can make him into a somewhat reliable player, then that is going to be a hell of a credit to this coaching staff. As a bug tries to invade. What about Stiggers? I want to see him get a chance. He has not gotten a chance yet. He's only playing special teams. And I would like to see him get an opportunity to actually play. I would like to see that. All right. So number 2, because the Mets are going to start soon. So I did go Sunday to the Mets game against the Rangers. It was a walk-off win. Guys, keep throwing your questions, comments. I'll respond to them in just one moment after I get through each segment. Tuesday night was easy. 5 runs in the first inning. And when Cedric Mullins is hitting a home run, it's your night. But I like the tag team of Clay Holmes and Sean Manaea. Almost got him. It worked very well. They pitched the distance. And now the bullpen has 2 full days of rest. Love it. Love that they had those 2 full days. Oh, my God. Jake Asman's here. No. Jake? What? I figured this is like his doppelganger. This is like Jake's intern hanging out. I figured Jake had bigger fish to fry, but, dude, I really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. Thank you so much. Billy, what the hell have the Mets done the second half of the season? Lose. You really want to see this team in the playoffs? Yes. Yes, I want to see my team make the playoffs. You get in the playoffs, you never know what happens. Get in. It's 3 stages in MLB. You get a first round bye because you skip around. You're the 3 through the 6 seed, and you play the first round, and you have to win a best of 3, or you miss the playoffs. I'm not exactly used to seeing my baseball team make the playoffs back-to-back years. That's happened, I believe, only once, unless you count the wild card play-in game in 15-16. Only time the Mets have done it is 1999 and 2000. So do I want to see my team make the playoffs this year? Absolutely, I do. Even if they're not going in playing their hottest baseball, and the last 3 months were absolutely terrible. Yes. Yes, I do. So now, right now with the standings, the Mets are 4 back of San Diego for wild card 2. So even if they sweep the series, they're still 2 back. You expect them to be the number 3 wild card at best. So Cincinnati won today. They're 2.5 games out. And Arizona, San Francisco. How about this one? That game was scoreless through 10 innings. And the Giants wind up winning the game in Arizona 5-1. So right now, the Giants 76-76, Arizona half a game up on them. Now, Arizona, they've got the gauntlet coming up. They're the closest team to the Mets, but they have Philly and LA at home and then San Diego on the road, all playoff teams. Because I was actually rooting for Arizona to win because if the Giants ain't close, they've got 6 at home coming up against St. Louis and Colorado. Basically, a AAA team is what you have. But if the Mets do their job, they keep winning games, they will make it. You know what? I was going to mention the Giants too, but you know what? Their defense is absolutely hideous. There's nothing else to really say. Yeah, I was going to get into it a whole lot more, but you know what? Not even worth it. So let's get rid of the 3 and out. There we go. Chris, I was told by a Lions fan that one huge problem with AG is he is too stubborn. That can work to your advantage or to your disadvantage. You know, it just depends. Is what you're doing working? And then if something isn't working, are you able to change it? Are you willing to admit your mistake and say, you know what, this wasn't working. Let's turn it around. Let's change something. Now, after 2 games, I don't think you're going to see drastic wholesale changes in terms of personnel or scheme. Aaron Glenn hired Steve Wilks because he believes that Steve Wilks can run a good defense. And he's not going to go to Steve Wilks right away and say, you know what, you had no idea what you were doing. Change this right now. He's not going to do that right away. This keeps up for another couple of weeks, yes, but you're not going to see it immediately after 2 weeks. The players have to play better. Quite that simply. But I still think that the players are getting used to this scheme, playing a different style of defense than they did under Robert Saleh. Billy, I think with Tyrod, the Jets will have a better run game because now you have to respect the pass. It's possible, but I will say this with Tampa Bay. Probably the best unit on their defense right now is the secondary. I think they will still first prioritize taking the run away from the Jets. And they're going to count that Jamel Dean can handle Garrett Wilson. If they need to give him some safety help with Antoine Winfield, then they will do that. That's what I would expect. But I don't think it really, even though Tyrod Taylor is more prone to throwing the deep ball, if they get beat a time or two one-on-one, they can live with that. But what they don't want is for the Jets to wear the defense down and hold the ball for 35 to 40 minutes. That is the number one thing the Buccaneers are going to make sure doesn't happen. And that's what the Jets want to make happen. I would love to see some play action. I'll tell you that. Maybe like a play action bomb. You see 8 in the box. How about a play action bomb? Can we see more Arian Smith, please? We know what Alan Lazard's ceiling is pretty much the level of my computer desk right now. Okay, that's about where that goes. Josh Reynolds, same thing. Even if he plays, we pretty much know what he is. Tyler Johnson, same thing. Can make a catch here or there, but we saw he had a bad drop last week. Arian Smith has upside. There's no way around it. He has upside. And I want to see that talent get developed over the course of the season. Because let me ask you this question this week. If Tyrod Taylor throws a 60-yard touchdown pass to Alan Lazard, how excited are you really? As opposed to a 60-yard touchdown pass to Arian Smith. Are you going to have the same level of excitement for one as you would for two? I don't think so. Because if I'm just seeing long touchdowns to Alan Lazard, it's like, okay, cool. Great. Sounds good. Sean Sharp, you can't go live? Well, we're live right now, brother. If you're talking about during the games, I'm always out watching the games at other places. I don't watch the games from home. So, yeah, going live. Honestly, if you all saw me watching a Jets game, you'd be ashamed of me. I can't. I was the one screaming at Jay Tufele in Green Bay during an exhibition game for jumping off sides on the first play, screaming at him. I got more than a few stares from the Packer fans, believe me. After that, I was pretty contained, and then he wound up having a great game. But yeah, this is what we do live every week, brother. 6 p.m. You're always welcome. Billy, I would not stack the box against Tyrod Taylor. That would not be wise. You know what? Taylor is not the running threat that I think we remember him as being. But I think with Cansey out, Vita Vea should play in this game, but he's still a little bit beat up too. And Levante David's like 35 years old. Levante David just won't go away. Yeah, let's see us run right at that at David. Good of players he's been. He's aging. Let's see what he can do. The Jets have a number of ways that they could attack this Tampa Bay defense, and I'm not sure there's one perfect way to do it. Tanner Engstrand's going to have some big decisions. But again, the fact that last week you had receivers running open and the quarterback just couldn't execute, I feel pretty good about Tanner Engstrand as an offensive coordinator right now. So against a pretty good Tampa Bay defense, albeit one missing its best defensive tackle, I'm fascinated to see how the Jets try to attack. All right, guys, I'll tell you what we're going to do. It is about that time of the night, and I think what we need to do is do something that we do every single week. Every week, you know what happens. I head down into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica. I pull up all those sites on the Jets dark web, and I, Wa2K99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in all of the NFL. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you are ready, and I know you are ready, let's play Jets trivia. So tonight's question is about to come up on the screen. Guys, you know the rules. We have 5 minutes that I'm going to put on the clock. And then put your answers right down there in the chat. I will be watching, and let's see if you can get it right. All right. Absolutely. I can see the stubbornness a little bit. The sky isn't falling, but I think it's going to very soon. Chris, I'm just going to keep coming back to this. How they played against Buffalo is not how they're going to play the next 15 games. I'm telling you. They might have another couple of clunkers like against Baltimore, but this is not what we're going to watch every week. Billy with a good point. Most NFL coaches in history have been stubborn. Tom Landry, Chuck Knox, Vince Lombardi, Bill Parcells, Belichick, same way. Yep, no question. Chuck Knox is an interesting addition into that, but all right, I'll go with it. I think Andy Reid is probably pretty stubborn as well, but you know what? You have to have a little dose of humility of knowing when things aren't working. That was one mistake Tom Landry had with the 4-3 flex defense that he used for so long. By the late 80s, it wasn't working anymore, but he refused to change it. And that's why for those last couple of years before Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson came in, the Cowboys were one of the worst teams in the NFL. Pot2K99, he is so right. Not sure which he that is, but yep, we'll go with it. All right, here we go. Trivia time. So we have a Jets Buccaneers trivia question. And tonight's question, I got to fire up the clock here, guys. Then we'll call it a night as the Mets are getting ready to go and making some dinner. Going to be doing a nice bratwurst oven bake with some peppers and onions, putting a little mustard and vinaigrette on top. Going to be really, really good. All right, tonight's question goes like this. Name the only two players to make a Pro Bowl for the Jets and the Buccaneers. Got a pretty good feeling this is going to be one of the easier trivia questions that I ever give you. Name the two players to make the Pro Bowl for the Bucks and the Jets. Who have we got? Swig of water for the working man and woman. And hey, guys, just remember, coming up this week, Thursday night, I will be posting my predictions video, my confidence picks for every game on the NFL schedule. And then Friday and Saturday, you will see the Jets versus Bucks full game preview video, along with my video with the 5 bowl predictions and the score prediction. English is my first language. Looks like the Washington Red Commandskins are returning to Washington, D.C. itself. Looks like they might be leaving Landover. All right. Okay, Scott Foster and Billy SBC both say Vinny Testaverde. Is Vinny Testaverde correct? No. Hank G steps in. Darrelle Revis. Is Darrelle Revis correct? There is. Darrelle Revis made 5 Pro Bowls with the Jets and 1 with the Bucks. And then you've got one more player. Made a Pro Bowl with the Jets and the Buccaneers. Who could it be? Hank G steps in with Darrelle Revis. No. Oh, you already said Revis. I'm sorry about that. All right. This can't help it. All right, I got you. Oh. Ew, something happened here. Billy SBC says Ryan Fitzpatrick. Is it Ryan Fitzpatrick? No. No, yeah, I don't think Fitzy. Did Ryan Fitzpatrick ever make a Pro Bowl in his life? Now you got me wondering. I don't believe he did. I know he played for 17 seasons, but yeah, I don't know if he did. The Amish Rifle. That's a great nickname, isn't it? Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick never made the Pro Bowl. Yeah, he was with Tampa Bay for the 2 years after he went to the Jets, but never made it. All right. Billy SBC, Keyshawn Johnson. Is it Keyshawn Johnson? It is Keyshawn Johnson. That's correct. That's right. Correct answers tonight. Let's see. Let's get this back in. Let's see. There we go. Yep, Keyshawn Johnson made 2 Pro Bowls with the Jets and 1 Pro Bowl with Tampa Bay. And as I mentioned, Darrelle Revis made 5 with the Jets and 1 with the Bucks. So well done. Yeah, I got that with about 3.5 minutes to spare. So good job, guys. Yeah, I felt pretty confident you would get that one. So next week we'll have a Jets. It gets hard to keep doing all these division opponent trivia questions, but next week it'll be a Jets Dolphins trivia question. So we will be ready for that. Everybody, I want to thank you very much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time. I know I did, and I know I do every week. So everyone, hang in there. We got a long, long way to go. Things will get better. I can't say when they'll get better, and I can't say how much better they'll get, but I can promise you we will be better this week than we were against Buffalo. I've got a pretty good feeling. And if they aren't, then I will start to have some questions about Aaron Glenn for sure. All right, everybody. Everybody have a fantastic week. Be well. Stay safe. Go Jets. And I'll be back, you know when. Same time next week. Right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody.